Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining our kickoff event for the 2023 Incubation Program kickoff. I would like to start with welcoming Dr. Yusuf Asfour, the Executive Director of the AUB Innovation Park and the Chief Innovation and Transformation Officer at AUB.
Thank you, Maha. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I'll be very quick. Welcome, everyone, to this event. I'm really thrilled to have all of you here today to kick off the iPark Incubation Workshop. Being an entrepreneur is not just about starting a company or building an idea. It's about having the courage to pursue passions, to take these risks, to make a difference in the world. It's about creating something new, something that has the power to change lives and to solve problems and to change the world. And at the Talal and Madiha Zain Innovation Park, we offer an opportunity to learn from the best, to be exposed to new ideas, and to be part of the community as a whole. You have the potential to be the great entrepreneurs, to create new big thing, and to make a real impact in this world. But guess what? It's not going to be easy. Starting a business is hard. It requires sacrifice. It requires a lot of dedication. But if you're willing to put in the work, you will be rewarded with an incredible sense of accomplishment, a sense of pride, and an opportunity to make a big difference in the world. We understand that growing a company and starting an idea is not just about having a good idea. It's about having access to the right resources, networks, and support. That's why we are constantly working to tap into the global networks we have and the resources to ensure that our entrepreneurs have everything they need to succeed. We are committed to supporting and growing our entrepreneurial ecosystem. Through partnerships, mentorship programs, and networking events, we are building a community of like-minded individuals like you who are dedicated to supporting each other in the entrepreneurial journey. So not only are you joining to this program to create ideas, but you'll also be joining a community of entrepreneurs who are dedicated to helping each other succeed. We're very excited to see you here, to see what amazing ideas you might come up with and what business ideas you'll come up with. And we would like to see you continue with this workshop and look forward to supporting you every way we can. So I challenge you to think big, to be bold, and to be fearless and take some risk. Don't be afraid to take risks. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. And certainly don't be afraid to learn from them. Believe in yourself, believe in your ideas, believe in the power of your dreams. We are here to help you make it happen. Together we can make a real impact on the world. So let's get started. Let's work together to build something great. Good luck, and looking forward to all of you enjoying this workshop. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Asfour. So next, I'm gonna give you some background information about iPark. First, let me introduce our team. So you've met Dr. Asfour, and there's me managing the iPark. And there's Hani, he's our programs manager. Here's Hani. And there's Mary. Mary, Wainik, where are you? Here's Mary Khairallah, our operations coordinator. And there's Rida Abdullah, our community manager. And also, I would like to introduce Arthur, who joined us 2 days ago. He's our entrepreneur in residence, Arthur Bizdikia. You won't see his picture here. You will see it later in the slides. So in general, for those of you who hear about the Talal and Madiha Zain AUB Innovation Park for the first time, it's a cross-disciplinary space at BDD for experiential learning and startup building. So in other words, it's AUB's incubator for startups. Basically, what we do is we support innovative ideas for the AUB community members, the wider AUB community members. This includes students, alumni, staff, and faculty members, so that they can, change them and transform them into scalable startups. Our slogan is Inspire, Enable, and Connect. This is because we offer incubation and acceleration. We connect you with industry specialists and mentors, and we link you with potential partners and investors. So how does the journey go? I know that many of you enrolled in this program with the exploratory intent. But if you find yourself in this path and you decide to pursue your startup, you will first start with the idea validation stage. This is where you start thinking really about your idea, validate your assumptions, and until you end up, building your market strategy and your prototype. Stage 2, after you have everything ready, your business model, your idea, and your prototype, in stage 2, you actually start developing your actual product or service to become a minimum viable product or minimum marketable product. So after this is done, we move to the go-to-market stage where you are supposed to start, landing customers and generating revenue. And then there's scaling up and growth. So there are several stages, and we are here to help you all throughout these stages. In general, how do we help startups? We have the incubation program that includes micro grants and funding. We have the EIR, Strategic Advisory, Arthur again. And for those who do not know what EIR means, it's Entrepreneur in Residence. It means that we bring an entrepreneur, a senior entrepreneur, if I might say, who's been there, done that, and been through the roller coaster journey, and can share with you experience and help you connect the dots. We also provide mentorship, many kinds of mentorship per sprint, mentorship, a lead mentor, a subject matter expert mentorship, investment clinics. We also have partners who can help you, give you investment advisory. Consulting clinics, for example, we are partners with Ernst & Young, who offer our startups consultation. We give you a co-working space. We have something called Skills Match Hub for you to join startups or open vacancies in your startup for others to join. We give you access to global networks, some software licenses, R&D facilities. We help you with commercialization, maybe connect you with corporate partners and other ecosystem connections. This is a complicated table. The only intention of it is to tell you we have basically 3 core phases. This is where we have close intervention with you, and besides the other stages where you have to do much of the work on your own. So we have the idea validation stage, where we, like this one, the one you are starting now in the first quarter of this year, where everybody is admitted, but those who get out of it with a lo-fi prototype, a good pitch deck, and a team, they get the chance to join the build and accelerate the stage, which is the second stage. And then those who get out of it with a minimum marketable product, a good business model, first customer letter of intent, go-to-market strategy, and pitch deck, they qualify for the go-to-market stage and growth support. We are happy that we completed 3 years. So that Talal and Madiha Zain is not very old. We are 3 years old. And in these 3 years, we graduated 3 cohorts, 42 startups. 20% of them are now generating revenue. They created 60 plus jobs. We granted around $180,000 of awards and grants. Our startups landed $3.5 million of investment. We have a network pool of 100 plus mentors. We ran 3 AUB President Innovation Challenges and For those of you who haven't heard about it, it's an annual challenge where we award the top innovation $30,000 and the second innovation $15,000. And this year there was an extra award for social innovation that was $10,000. Of course, it's not an award for a project type innovation. It's also an award for a startup type innovation. And many of our startups also were stars in other places in the world. 3 of them landed international awards in international competitions. And we have now a solid network of national and international partners. In general, this year, Q1 will be for the ID validation stage, and in Q2, the build and accelerate stage starts, and it stretches over Q3 as well. During this time, also the President Innovation Challenge applications are launched, and then in Q4, we start the go-to-market stage, and we do the finals for the President Innovation Challenge. This is also a glimpse at our startups who graduated from iPark. And I think that's enough about iPark. I'll leave you with Arthur Bizdikian, our entrepreneur in residence. He's also the CEO of Lemonade Fashion, so that he could tell you a bit about the entrepreneurial journey.
Thank you, Maha. So hi, everyone. My name is Arthur Bizdikian. I'm the founder and the CEO of Lemonade Fashion. I was actually an AUB student. So approximately 10 years ago, I was sitting where you guys are sitting now. I remember taking one of my best naps ever in that chair over there. So needless to say, I was never really the best student, but it's mostly because I was always a daydreamer. So I could never really just focus on the courses. I always had different plans, different ideas. Anytime I would sit in a course, I would always be imagining, okay, what would the future of this look like, right? So luckily I did graduate, and I started my entrepreneurial path not very long ago. So approximately 4 years ago, I decided that I wanted to create Lemonade Fashion. And to be honest, it has been an amazing journey. And we actually lived through it all. So I started Lemonade. It was directly before all of the events took place in Lebanon. And the plan was always to be a global company, right? So we had an idea, and we wanted to turn that idea into a reality. And we were able to do that. Lemonade started in Lebanon, but I'm happy to say that today Lemonade is a global company. So we have lived throughout the majority of the journey. We did go to San Francisco and to Silicon Valley. We did raise investment. We did meet with billionaires. We did turn into a company that works in more than 12 countries. But the path has been very, very interesting and challenging. So the good news is that what's interesting for me, at least in entrepreneurship, is that there's not a very clear profile on who you must be to be an entrepreneur. You don't need to be the best student. You don't need to be the best creative. You don't need to be the best engineer or the best mathematician or the best in economics. To be an entrepreneur, you really need to have, well, first of all, you need to believe in yourself, and you need to have resilience, and you need to learn, or you need to understand that entrepreneurship is against everything you've learned so far. Because in traditional academia, if you succeed 7 out of 10 times, right? If you get a 70 over 100, you're barely passing. If you get a 60 over 100, you're most probably failing. In entrepreneurship, it's the opposite. You need to fail more times than you succeed. Because if you succeed 10% of the time, you're Apple, you're Facebook, you're Instagram, you're Google. So the concept is a bit different. It's much more resilient. It's a lot more about taking risks, becoming creative, and then launching solutions to problems that people have been dreaming about. Now, how can you know if you have what it takes to be an entrepreneur? You're not going to know. You're not going to know unless you get started. You're not going to know unless you try. But what's the upside and what's the downside? The upside is that you get to create an amazing startup. The downside is that you don't. But what's the risk? You don't really lose anything. Worst case scenario, you lose 1 year. So 1 year where instead of having a traditional job, you decided to create a startup. But you know what's going to happen? In those 1 years, in this 1 year, you're going to become one of the most interesting people. You're going to become one of the most interesting people to hire as well. Because in this 1 year, the skills that you're going to learn is equivalent to 5 to 6 years in a corporate job, because you're going to have to learn super fast. And that's why I'm very excited to be here today with you, because I want to share my journey. I want to be able to support you. And the reason why I chose iPark to be able to do this, it's not because I'm just an AUB student, to be honest. In the last couple of years, I've worked with the majority of the programs, not just in Lebanon. So when Lemonade started, and the vision of starting Lemonade honestly was because my boobs are too big, because I've been working out for a long time, so I could never find outfits that fit me. But my dad used to be a designer, so his friends would create my outfits. And then one day I wanted to take that and turn it into a tech company to make the world of tailor-made fashion accessible. It was just an idea. And I got so excited. So on the same day, I called a couple of my friends. We put together a quick plan, and we only had one rule. The one rule was that every time we're scared, we're just going to pick up the phone and call someone. We're going to call someone to book the next meeting, and then the next meeting, and then the next meeting. We didn't have a plan. But within a month, by just booking more meetings, we actually got a grant. We recruited 3 people. We recruited our first 4 designers, and we had already completed 20% of our MVP. Within the first 3 months, we had already launched an MVP, won our first competition, and selected to the first acceleration program. 1 year after that, we raised our first investment. A year after that, we went to Silicon Valley, where we graduated from one of the top programs and raised more investment. Year after that, Lemonade has more than 20 employees. And you can't imagine that feeling, that this was an idea that was in your brain. And when I had this idea, everyone thought I was an idiot, including my parents. I remember that first day when I told my mom, hey, I have an idea for a fashion company. And she looks at me, she's like, you studied environmental health and you work with the central bank. Why do you want to go into fashion? It made absolutely no sense. And I didn't have an answer. I just knew that I had a vision and I didn't want to regret it. And I don't. And today the company grew a lot. But in those couple of years, we worked with a lot of accelerators. We worked with a lot of incubators. I personally mentored startups with AUB before, but I've also mentored startups with every single university in Lebanon. I've mentored startups in San Francisco in different programs, in Hong Kong, in South Korea, in Dubai, in Saudi, and in Abu Dhabi. And I can honestly tell you that the program in AUB is one of the best that I've seen on a global level. And it's one of the best that I've seen because the team behind it really cares about your success. Because AUB is not, well, at least the program is not for profit, right? The aim is to actually help you and support you to turn your ideas into reality and to increase the probability of your success and the probability of being able to grow on a global level. So what I can tell you is that if you take this program seriously, if you don't take it as another course, because it's not a course, there's no credit, this is not going to help you get a degree. If you take this seriously, it will take you to a next level. The more you give the program, the more you work with us, the more you work with the mentors, the more you practice, the more you learn, the more you grow, the more you're going to be able to succeed in this. And a couple of years from now, you will be mentoring. You will be having your own global company. The first idea that you have might not work. The second one might not work. But the skills that you're going to get and the core of entrepreneurship will go with you, and you will learn from one failure to the other. And that's the first part of the program. So the first part of the program, we're going to work on your skills. We're going to make sure that you learn what it takes, understand how to pitch, how to come up with ideas, how to put together a small team, how to really get started. I can honestly talk about this for hours, but I'm going to stop talking so that other people can also do their thing. We're going to have a small Q&A at the end. Any question that you have, we would love to answer, and we would love to see you in this program. So it is a unique opportunity. And AUB, what I can tell you is that AUB is taking this program very seriously. So if you take it seriously as well, and today entrepreneurship is one of the hottest topics in the world. And it's one of the hottest topics because the world has never faced this many issues, right? And traditional corporations are not going to fix them. Government is not going to fix them. Startups are the companies that are creating the future. We are the companies that find solutions to problems, right? So that's all I have to say. I would like to welcome the program manager, Hani, to the stage so that he can walk you through the program as well.
Right. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Arthur, for the speech. We're really happy to have you with us. Thank you very much. The 2023 program is split into two different parts, flexible modules and sprint-based modules. The main difference is with the timeline you're going to get to do them. You can go at your own pace, and I'll get into more details about what I mean by this, but the idea is flexible modules and the sprint-based modules will be open to everyone, and you can follow them at your own pace with a caveat, which we'll get into right now. The program is split into 5 core sprints along with the flexible modules, which are personal development and business literacy. In the sprints, you're going to cover different topics. On the first sprint, it's going to be unleashing the entrepreneurial mindset, which Arthur is going to lead. Second sprint would be design thinking and market analysis. Third sprint would be developing your low fidelity prototype. Fourth sprint is developing your business model. And the fifth sprint is developing your pitch deck and learning how to pitch and excel at pitching and improving your pitching skills. So here we have to make a distinction. We understand that some of you have registered and are interested in the educational value that you are going to get from the program. In that case, you can take it at your own pace, but you will not have to give the core deliverables for every sprint. This is the biggest difference. Every sprint has a core deliverable. So every sprint is going to have, let's say, you see the video and the PowerPoint, then you would see, let's say, multiple choice question and an action item question. You can do them, but then you have a core deliverable. So for sprint 1, one of the core deliverables, you have to put it in order to be eligible to qualify for the Build and Accelerate program that starts in the summer. If you don't want to put in the core deliverables, then you can just follow it as an educational program, but you will not be eligible for the mentoring that happens inside of the sprints. In the sprints, when you do the deliverables, so for sprint 2, you would give us, let's say, customer interview meetings, because you're going to be designing something, then you're going to talk to potential customers, then you're going to put in minutes of meeting, and you're going to put those in the deliverable. If you don't want to do that process, you won't be eligible for the points that come out of each sprint, because every time you do a sprint and you complete the deliverables, you get points that make you open to getting specific mentors on every single topic. So I'll reiterate, you can just go through at your own pace without submitting the core deliverables. But if you want to get the sprint mentoring and the specific mentoring on each topic, you have to submit the deliverables. And I've said deliverables a bunch of times. I'll just tell you what they are. You have a co-founder agreement. So you want to build a team, but you don't want things to be very hazy. You don't want things to be like, who's the owner? Who's doing this? How much shares am I going to get? Who's responsible for what? You need to define this in a document called the co-founder agreement, an agreement with your team members, and you have to submit this. You also would have to submit something called an organization chart, which is just who's the CEO, who's the main boss, who's in charge of tech, who's doing the marketing, etc. Additionally, you will develop in the program a prototype, which is just you start with an idea, and then you develop something that you're able to show other people, whether it's a very basic website, a 3D model online, a physical prototype. So that's also a submission that you'll have to give. When you have these things, you also have to do something called customer validation interviews, And yes, might be a bit stressful for some people. You have to call random strangers, go knock on doors, go to meetings, and then you have to get feedback about your product. And then maybe you get bad feedback and you don't take it personally. As Arthur said, it's a path of resilience. Starts with an idea. People might think you're crazy, but then you just push through it. You contact more people, do more and more interviews. Finally, you'll have, let's say, 20 interviews, but we need to see that. It's like 20 minutes of meeting, you see how you've developed, how you've progressed. With that data, we'll be able to help you more because we understand more your thought process. It's the mentoring side of things, as Arthur indicated, he's mentored all over the world. It's really personal. It's not just like, okay, like a doctor, okay, I'm going to write you a subscription. It's really personal. Like we need to understand how you're thinking to be able to help you jump over the tight spots that you find that are sticking points for yourself. Last two deliverables would be a lean canvas. Obviously, you have time to do all these deliverables. They're not just all on the same week. So don't worry, it might sound like a lot, but it's a fun process. Fifth deliverable is the business model canvas, which is in sprint 4. And the final piece of the puzzle is what we call a pitch deck. It's just a PowerPoint presentation that tells us about your team, your market size, your customer, your particular customer type, among other things. So, like I said, you will have mentorship throughout the program. And if you want to qualify for the incubation, which happens in the summer, where you get sizable grants to develop your prototype, you're going to have to submit all of these core deliverables. So we talked about the program, and if you have any questions, we have a Q&A. What's next? For the next 2 weeks, Arthur and I are going to be doing a needs assessment with all of you. We have, as of this morning, 172 applicants. So we have to split the time between ourselves for the next 2 weeks to get to know you better. So we will be sending out links, but the needs assessment is split into 2 parts. Needs assessment first part is if you've indicated in your submission form that you have an idea or a prototype or a company generating revenue, those are split apart from the people who have no idea. So the people who don't have an idea, I'll be taking them. I'll send you the link. People who do have an idea plus, we'll be having sessions with me and Arthur present. Arthur will lead those sessions. Once we finish the needs assessment, we will launch the sprints on the 6th of February, where we start the core sprints that I mentioned over here. And then finally, on the 28th of April, we'll have the pitch day, where let's say out of the 170, and we expect to have even more than that, let's say we choose the best 30 and the best 30 pitch, and the best 10 of the best 30 will be selected for the Build and Accelerate stage that starts in June. So I'd like to thank you very much. We're really excited to have you with us. We really care. I mean, Arthur is right. Like, we really do care about the program. It's not like a transactional thing. We're really happy to have him with us. And that's it from me. We can go to Q&A right now. Thank you.
already فيما أمامنا.
So are we ready for the Q&A?
Yes, we were taking questions. Anybody who needs to ask something, just raise your hand and I will give you the microphone. Nobody has any questions? Was that clear? Okay. Anyone online? Okay. Who's the question addressed to?
I mean, all of you, just it's about the program. So basically, if the whole entire process needs an R&D process, a research process, would the program put us in contact with experts? Like, is it one of the components of it?
Yes, each sprint has technical expert, more than one. Yes.
No, but I was asking, like, if we need for this, like for the product or the MVP to be done, we need some research with, let's say, medical experts. Would the program, I would say, would you put us in contact with people who are experts in this so we can interview them?
Yes, we can do this. We obviously having a AUB name, we can open doors for you
Exactly.
coming as part of the program, definitely.
Thank you.
Questions?
So just to follow on what my colleague said, so yes, you have access to the network, you have access to the connections and the potential introductions as well. But I think one of the key things that you're going to have to learn in the program is how to build your own network, right? So while you have access to ours, I think it's one of the most important things in entrepreneurship is the power of networking and establishing those connections, right? And honestly, it's having a name that you even associated with your email address opens up a lot of these connections. So once we will teach you how to do that, right? So because what I care about the most is how to teach you to be self-autonomous, right? So you don't really have to rely on others when you're building. Having the extra support will save you an extra mind, but let's say one day that support disappears, right? So what you learn, once you learn how to do that on your own, I think it's going to be much more valuable.
We have the stress management module. So if you feel stressed about reaching out to different people, there's a solution for that. Questions?
There's a question online. They're asking if they can join from abroad. Yes, they can. You can join the program from abroad. We accommodate online support.
Hi. What is the minimum what is the minimum age for the intervention?
The minimum age is you have to be 3 years old. That's the minimum age. So you're eligible. Next, Elon Musk, if you like it.
You have to be the son of an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur, which is your dad sitting right next to you. Ahmad, thank you for joining. Ahmad is an inspiring entrepreneur and he's doing very well, more than one startup. Our startup is PetCreate, but he has other startups and you can chat one day with Ahmad and he will get you totally excited about this journey.
Any questions? Okay, there's a question.
Hello, is the needs assessment individual based or team based, or on what basis do you assess us?
This individual.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Questions, don't be shy, even if you think it's a stupid question, even if there's something you don't understand that maybe is obvious.
I have a question online.
Okay.
Do I have to have a team or it's fine if I'm alone?
It's fine if you're alone, but you need to develop a team during the process because it's unlikely that you'll have the relevant skills to cover everything. You can start alone, but you need to develop a team, and the team could come from other applicants because there will be other applicants who don't have enough. Yeah, we have a Slack channel and we can do interactive team building exercises on Zoom as well.
That I may add, we also have something we call the skills matchup. So as you go during this idea stage, if you decide that you want to embark on your entrepreneurial trip and you want to continue your startup, you have by the end of this cycle to at least build your basic team, and we have the skills matchup to help you do that. So if you decide what is your organization gonna look like, we can help you post these vacancies for other people to join you.
Thank you.
Is the workshop online or on campus or hybrid?
No, the workshops, well, we can do hybrid, but I think it's more convenient. The workshops, it's not the needs assessment, obviously, is will be online. We are going to do some workshops, and it will be case by case. We can't give you right now, but the sprint mentorship, for example, will be online. So I would say more online than offline, but we have a space for interactive activities that we can hold in person. Hybrid, like everybody's into hybrid now after COVID, so we have to accommodate for that.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry, are you asking about the sprints workshops?
Yes.
The sprints workshops are on the self-paced, Hani is mentioning all the workshops because we have other experiential workshops that might be in person, but the sprints workshops are self-paced on the platform.
Okay, thanks.
Any questions?
I have a question online. So somebody is asking that if we have an idea, do we get the chance to share with those within the program who don't have an idea in case they are interested to join? And the answer is yes, of course, it's all about collaboration and we highly encourage that.
Internally, Dr. Askur calls it speed dating. So we do have a speed dating program that should take place.
If it's self-paced, can we go beyond April to complete the program?
Theoretically, yes. But it depends on what you're looking to get out of the program. If your aim from the program is to watch the videos and to gain some knowledge, then yes. If you want to make the most out of the program and actually graduate from the program with a startup, then we will be working with you more on specific timelines. Right. So while you have access to all videos, we will tell you for the next 2 to 3 weeks, please focus on this, and those are the deliverables because there's a limited time on when we can connect you with the mentors for that sprint. Right. And it's interesting to do it that way because if you go through them step by step, then by the end of it, you're actually going to have a working prototype. So we will guide you on how to do that, and then we can take you and put you in the second phase, which will be more. So it's no longer the theoretical part of entrepreneurship, because phase 2 is going to be okay, now we need to launch your product, right? So how can we take this idea and turn it into a product that can be sold in the market? How can we get your first users? And then once you finish that one, phase 3 would be, okay, now you have something that actually works, right? What's next? Where do we scale? How big can this be? How do we fine tune, right? So the program is developed in a way where you can do phase 1 more with educational type of thing, but if you really want to be an entrepreneur and benefit from the full resources that AUB is offering in this program, then you're going to have to work more on the recommendations and the timelines and the deliverables that we work on together. But I don't think they're hard, to be very honest. It's not very because it's not a course, right? So we know that everyone doing this is not a full-time entrepreneur yet. So the aim is to give you the roadmap where if you do this within a year, you would have the confidence, the resources, the knowledge, and even the traction to be considered a full-time entrepreneur.
Okay, thank you. And another question, am I allowed to follow the program, like you said, to learn more about it, and then not pursue like a specific business, and then later on go again with the program, but this time with an idea? Like, for example, if I get the idea this summer and I come back next year and I do this part of the program over again, am I allowed to do that?
Yeah, you're definitely allowed to do that, because again, forget about the normal rules that we're used to, right? So all these normal rules, we need to get rid of them. Once you learn the basics of entrepreneurship, because you might be learning today, but you might be a successful entrepreneur 7 years from now. You might have 4 failed projects in the meantime. You might graduate from all 3 phases today, and then 2 years from now come back and say, hey, I have a new startup, right? I want to go back into the program because I want to benefit from the resources that AUB is offering. Because this is not just for students, right? Any alumni, any faculty member can join the Innovation Park. So what I can tell you is that this is a lifelong journey. You get started today, you can repeat it whenever you want. You can do phase 1 now, phase 2 later. It doesn't really matter. You can do all 3 phases 3 times if you want, right? So it's not the typical rules that we're used to when institutions are like, no, you have to do it this way. It's not the case. It's more, we're building you, right? You're building yourself. So that's that's the mindset that you need to have.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
I have a question online. After we win the prize at the end of the pitching the idea, what's next? Is it we are going to have this money by ourselves to do this idea, or someone? Hold on. Or someone will be responsible to do. So, Hani, do you want to answer that?
Can you repeat?
I can answer it. You can answer the question. Okay, so for the ideation program, there is no prize, but if you progress well and we see that you are committed and your idea has potential, we give you prototyping petty cash for you to develop your prototype. But the win for those who make it to the pitch day, because not everyone will make it to maybe everyone, I don't know, it depends if everyone commits and, validate their idea and finish their prototype. Those who do so, they qualify for the pitch day. And in the pitch day, we select the startups that get full incubation for the second stage. And the full incubation, this is where you get some funding to develop your market and product. For example, in the present innovation challenge, yes, there's prize money, but also you do not just, take the money and leave. It's deliverable based, and we make sure to support you in all means possible to achieve the planned goals of these for these funds. I hope I answered your question, Mike.
Yeah, can I? Okay. Questions online, offline?
Another question? Oh, there's here. Okay.
First of all, I'd like to say I've been in several incubation programs, and this is really the first program that we have an entrepreneur who went so far and who have real experience with the mentors team, which is very great. Usually mentors have educational background or academic, but now we have Arthur, who is a real entrepreneur with the team. Second thing, I have an idea that I like to see it happening, is that startups can share their services or their work with each other, so we can test our startup or our service or our product on each other before going outside to the real market. And this way we can have real feedback from people who really care to give us a true feedback to improve. So I'd like to see this happening in this program, inshallah.
Your wishes are our command.
So, thank you.
It's a great idea.
I think we should get you to do this.
So I have a question online. When I applied for the program, I mentioned that I have no idea. For the sake of time, I've registered late, but I actually have a mix of incomplete ideas. Let's say some of them are already complete. Can you take this into consideration when you're sending links based on category with or without idea? Well, I can say that we will be filtering our participants in the program based on the stage they are in. So yes, there is personalized mentoring, if I can say. Another thing, we are going to be exposed to regional market networks and connections and consultants. I would say yes, but I would go to Arthur and Fanny if they want to add anything to that.
Yes, so when you come, we talk about this in week one. When you do customer validation, you want to validate in the market that you're actually targeting. So yes, it's possible that you will find that you're targeting, let's say, Dubai specifically for a specific reason, and you tailor your strategy for that. As for our mentors, mainly they're from the ecosystem in Lebanon. Maybe. So, but EY will also be mentors, and EY do have a regional input from GCC, Saudi, and other regions in the area. So the short answer is yes, we will have consultants from the entire region.
If you have something to add, of course.
No, I don't want to repeat. So yes, you're going to have it, but again, the advantage of this program is, again, it's not the online models, right? I mean, those will give you a general idea. What's unique about the program is the access that you have to the mentors and one-on-one sessions that you have with the team itself, which means when we sit with you and the meetings are already set, right? So you're going to have at least once every 2 weeks a meeting with someone internal from the iPark team. The purpose of this meeting is to actually see where you guys are on an individual level. And then from that, to be able to better connect you, serve you, and guide you on what you need to be doing next. If we have within the AV network or within the mentor someone that will help you specifically for what you need, whether it's in Lebanon or Dubai or Saudi or whatever that is, then yes, we will connect. Right? And no, if we don't have it, then we will tell you how to get connected to them. Because like I mentioned earlier, a big part of what we're going to work on together is having the right entrepreneurship mindset, which means, yes, if you can take a shortcut, take the shortcut, which is not what universities teach, right? Because like, if I can, I don't want to call it cheap, but if the answer is there, why would I try to come up with the answer? I'll use it. But let's say the answer is not there, right? Should that stop me? No, that is where entrepreneurship starts. Entrepreneurship starts when you don't have the solution already, or you don't have access to that connection. Okay, how do I get around that? Right? How do I turn this obstacle into an opportunity, into a solution? So that's what we're going to be working on together.
What about non-AUB members? So if there is a non-AUB member on the team, can he register specifying that he's affiliated as an alumnus or as a student, let's say?
Yeah, if you're an AUB alumnus, obviously you're eligible. Also AUB students, faculty staff. If you're not AUB, you need to be you need to team up with someone who is affiliated with AUB.
Yes. So if I have a non-AUB partner, can he? Yes.
Yeah.
Can he register as a student? Because he.
has to be part of it.
But to have access to the resources.
So that's something that we need to start differentiating. iPark is not a course. It's not limited to students. And when
yes.
you go through the program, you're not going to do the program as a student, right? You're part of iPark. Right?
Yes.
So if someone's on your team, they're part of the iPark program. We don't need to enroll them as students. Does that make sense? They're part of we call it an acceleration and integration program. And the reason why we don't want to, and we're going to keep on insisting on the fact that you're not participating in this as a student because the mindset of it is very important, right? This is business. This is real world stuff. This matters. Whatever you're doing here, right? You're not just getting a degree. You're not just doing it to make your mom happy. You're not just doing it to hang it somewhere that you ever look at your degree again. The reason why you're going through this program is because you want to come out of this program having built something that the entire world has, right? So yes, if you have partners, they're welcome to join the program.
Definitely, but just for them to have access to whatever the program would offer, to have their email on the yes.
Yeah, it's good that you raised this question. So we're gonna have startups that have multiple team members, and each of these team members would like to see the content.
Yes,
so
definitely.
You have two options. Either all of you use one account for the startup or the platform and use the same account to learn and submit the deliverables, or they can create separate accounts, but they cannot name it under the startup name, because this way we will be confused. We will see like the same company 3 times. we cannot do that. We're gonna measure companies who qualify at the end based on as one entity.
Yes, so definitely would use one account.
Yeah.
It's more of a technical question.
Agree to
Mhm.
lock in separately for the sake of learning. They have to agree which account is for submitting the deliverables and for representing the startup.
But what about the resources, let's say the networks, the events, announcements? That's what I mean.
When we formed our mailing list and our group, we put all team members in.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so we have a spreadsheet and everything. Each team has these emails, and then we get some people stuff. Questions online? No. Oh, yes, there's a question.
Okay, so if I understood correctly, it's enough for one team member to be an AUB student or affiliated with AUB. With the rest, no problem. Okay. Second question. You specify that we have to pinpoint our primary need for iPark at such an early stage, but whether it's an idea or no idea. How do you expect us to pinpoint it? Like, directly? Yes, but I mean, whether it's research or development, whether it's the correct one, whether that's what we truly need iPark for, maybe it turns out to be something else.
It could be exploring at this stage. If
Okay,
you're
exactly.
that early, you're just exploring. You're also
So it's not that definitive.
But there must be a trigger, right?
Wait, okay. Final.
I mean, the assessment is not just on what you're answering form, you're gonna have a lot of long sessions, right? And that's how we're gonna determine what you need. So whatever you answer now is fine. So we care more about your journey with us, right? And then throughout the program, we will figure it out.
Last question, please.
Let me just clarify something. The assessment is not a test.
Right.
The needs assessment is really trying to understand who you are, what your idea is, what the team is, what the skills are, so that we can tailor the program to your needs.
Thank you. Last question, thank you. Be the initial vetting process. If we specify that we have no team, but it's in the process of being developed, we won't be scored less, or that won't work against us, right? Or what?
Yeah,
Okay.
don't worry. You have time for the team, but at the end, you need the team co-founder agreement.
Yes.
So find the co-founder. You have time.
Thank you.
This is
But-
part
but-
of phase one.
But they have to, just wanted to add that they have to tell us if they have new team members joining.
Phase one, you don't need to have that. Phase one is for you to be able to have that. So that's why the program process stages. To go back to your second question, by the way, when it comes to the assessment and this not being the test. So although we do ask you how to put your idea, right? My dream is to see how you change your ideas onto it, right? Because pivoting is one of the most interesting things, right? So yeah, I hope a lot of you pivot.
Hi, I'm facing a technical problem with the website. So who do I contact to fix that?
Yeah, send me an email. Hello,
Okay.
I'll talk to you after.
Okay, dear. Thank you.
For those who don't know who to go to, we have a generic email that all of us read. It's Zain AUB iPark at aub.edu.lb. So Zain is ZEIN iPark IPARK at aub.edu.lb.
Any more questions? Online. Okay, that's it. This is our email. Right there. Okay, thank you everyone for coming. This was really interesting. And we're really looking forward to the interviews we'll have next week. Just wait from us links, the book. the meetings, and we'll take it from there. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.